All right. Can you all hear me without the microphone?
Yes.
Good. Let's see if this works. Haha! Love it. So I'm PJ, and I'm the founder of the X Gym, and the methods that we use at the X Gym, which are very unique. And I've been a researcher in health science, brain science, fitness, nutrition, all those things for, since 1987, to the tune of a couple hours a day or more. And I do that because I'm kind of OCD, and I really love it, and I can't help it, and I learn something new every day because research is moving so fast. I'm also what people call a biohacker. And you may be wondering what that means, but there's probably people here who know what that means. So throughout the presentation today, I'm going to be giving away bars to people. These are healthy protein bars to people who answer questions or try to answer questions. An attempt counts. There you go. So who knows what a biohacker is? Good.
You determine the correct nutritional and contents of the food and whether it's going to say what it's going to do.
Yes. So it's close. So the technical definition of a biohacker is somebody who uses science and technology to find shortcuts and hacks to better health. And that's what I do. I've been doing that for about 25 years before the term biohacker, but now it's a really popular thing. And this presentation is going to move really fast because there's lots of content. So I have a tablet I want to pass around for people to enter their info if they want the notes for this. I've already created notes for you, so you don't have to remember anything. And the notes, it's going to be a PDF with links to the cool stuff that you're going to see on it too. So if you want, then all you're doing is just entering your info and then just click submit and then pass it around. So it's a shortcut. Already a hack for you. We didn't even get started. Also, I can't resist the temptation because this projector is so low. Huh? I just learned that an hour ago. I Googled it because I just couldn't resist. All right. I want to start with posture correction and text neck correction. This is how we usually are all day now. And this has only been in the last 20 years, by the way, because we have computers now, and we're driving, and we're texting, and it's all the same posture. And leaning forward like this puts stress on the spine, and our bones are constantly changing, and our bones are growing that way now. So to reverse that, we can do certain things. My beautiful Beverly came with me to this show, and she's demonstrating how to stretch out on a physio ball. Everybody should have one of these. They're awesome. It's a great tool. I use one as a desk chair, and now she's demonstrating back flies to strengthen up the muscles back here that get weak and loose when this gets too tight. And then, of course, while you're on the ball, you might as well do some abs, right? So it's a great ab machine, too. It's my favorite ab machine. So that's the posture problem. And another way to help solve this posture problem is to adjust your workspace. If you're like this all the time and leaning forward, creating forward head posture, you might as well figure out a way to try to get back to good posture, and that would be a stand-up desk. Now, you don't want to do a stand-up desk all the time because if you stand up all day, that's not good either. So it's good to stand up and sit down and kind of change between the two. And so I've got a couple examples up here. This is the frugal version that I have. It's like 25 bucks. And that's the fancy version that's like 350 bucks. There's also full desks that go up and down, but both of these you can put on the desk you already have. There's links to those on there too. So sitting really is the new smoking. And if you're doing it all day, some people say it's even worse than smoking. So here's some hacks to get away from that. The one up here is a cube. So if you put the number facing up that you want the cube to alarm you, in that many minutes, it's going to go off. And it's going to remind you to do something other than this. So either just correct your posture or stand up or walk around or something that you have on your mind to do. The reason that a cube is more effective than a computer program like a window pop-up or an app on your phone is because it's not electronic. we've already programmed our brains to click off the pop-ups because they're annoying, and the pop and the alarms on our phone, just to click that off, and that's our automatic reaction. But when you have something that's not electronic outside that realm, that's physical, 3D, it's different. So that's why it's more effective. One of the things that might remind you to do is to get up and walk around. And your next meeting that's going to be more than 5 minutes with someone else, walk around with them and have that meeting. Preferably outside, but just, if you're in here walking around, there's certain things that happen to the brain that are really amazing when you're walking. You're more creative, you're outside your box, you're more open to receive information and give information. So it's actually an unfair advantage if you're going to have a meeting with somebody who's really closed-minded and they're not going to listen to anything you say, to take them for a walk. Or maybe you're closed-minded about something and you want to stick to your guns, but maybe that you might need to see another way or another angle. Go for a walk. It'll work on you too. Both of you are more creative and open-minded, and everybody is more productive. This guy up here is taking a smokeless smoke break. So we kind of get jealous every once in a while of our smoker friends that take all these breaks throughout the day to go outside and smoke. Well, why not do that minus the cigarette part? So you go outside, and you do like they do, except for the cigarette, and you stand there and you breathe, and you're outside, you're unplugged, you stepped away from your electronics, and even if it's just 3 to 5 minutes, that's enough to make a huge difference. And then you come back more productive, getting more done. And then this woman here is having a meeting on her phone. So a lot of us forget to get up and walk around, preferably outside. That's an option if you're having a meeting on your phone, if you're going to have a call. And then the question is, do you really need 8 or more glasses of water a day? No, you don't. You need more than that. And there's naysayers that come out trying to get on the news and saying, oh yeah, I really don't need all that water. But you know what? Here's the advantages of drinking all that water and maybe getting a little bit too much. And let's say you do get a little bit too much. Well, what's the disadvantage? There's one thing in the cons column. It's more bathroom trips. Well, that can be an advantage in itself, because if you're trapped at a desk all day and you got to go to the bathroom a lot, you're getting up a lot, right? So that's a way to get you up. And if you drink too much water, you can get hypernatremia, which is, water poisoning, but it's going to take, for everyone in this room, more than 3 gallons a day to get that and not, be getting electrolytes in. So there's really not a danger of that. But if you are getting a little bit more water than you need, it's still a detox, because every time you go to the bathroom, you're flushing stuff out. So it's a great advantage. It's a good habit to get into. There's another thing called EMFs that is in the last 50 years that has really gone skyrocketed. And who knows what EMFs stand for? Yes, electromagnetic fields or frequencies, but it's usually fields. And this is becoming a problem because humans have been around. If you're a creationist, you're going to say thousands and thousands of years. If you're an evolutionist, you're going to say millions and millions of years. Either way, it's a long time. And it's only been in the last 50 years that this has gone exponential. We have EMFs coming at us from everywhere now. Routers, cell phones, you name it. Radio towers, everything. And it's a problem because we haven't had enough time yet for our bodies to adapt to this new technology. And so here's some ways to mitigate it. Since we can't get away from it, unless we move out to a deserted island somewhere and go off the grid, the rest of us need some mitigating tools. So here's one. This is a mouse pad, and it plugs into the wall, into the hole, the ground hole. And if it's a grounded outlet, which most modern outlets are, that goes through the building and through the wires, and it ends up in a stake in the ground somewhere on the building. A lot of people don't know that. So it's grounded. So it cancels out, because you're grounding your body, it cancels out those EMFs. It doesn't totally take them away, but it drastically reduces them. This over here is a pillowcase. You can sleep on it and be grounding all night, which is really good for you. But if you don't like the feel of the pillowcase, then like my wife and I, put it under the top sheet, and it still works, goes through the sheet. So we're laying, the pillowcases, but we're laying on it flat, and we're grounding all night. It's a great health hack and a way to mitigate these EMFs. Another thing is the blue light that we're all exposed to all day looking at screens. Every screen you look at has way too much blue light, way more than the sun has, which is the right balance. And so here's the ways to mitigate that. The one on the left is the frugal version. That's the one I have. The one on the right is the fancy version. That's the one Dave Asprey has, who's the most famous biohacker. But they both do the same thing, block that blue light, because too much blue light can actually damage your retina and increase the speed of things like age-related macular degeneration, things like that. And we're finding that is really accelerating with people, and it's pretty scary. So it's good to mitigate that. There's also computer screen programs that you can install on your computer that also work pretty well. I use both, but it's a very important thing to consider. Again, there's links to all this stuff on the notes. Doesn't it feel good to be in your zone and in flow state? And wouldn't it be more fun to be able to get there on demand and stay there longer? Well, this is how you can do it. Here's some hacks on how to do it. High-intensity training wires your brain and your body to be able to access your zone and flow state quicker and to stay in it longer for lots of different reasons that I could get into. It could be a whole talk on itself. But the best kind of training is the intense kind of training. Any kind of exercise is awesome. But most people, when they think of high-intensity training, they think of, CrossFit or bodybuilding or powerlifting with big heavy weights and fast ballistic reps, or interval training where the Tabata intervals going real hard and then resting and real hard and resting. And both of those are fine. The X Gym also does high-intensity training, but we do it in a safe way. It's more like Tai Chi with lightweight body weight, elastic resistance, things like that. So, and it's actually more intense than the normal high-intensity training that most people think of. So we call it super high-intensity training, but now we have an acronym problem. Yeah, okay, you're getting it. Some people get it on the way home. But
Change it to accelerate.
yeah, there you go. Another way is the power pose. So I want to try this with everybody. If you could stand up. Men do it like Superman. And what's the difference between the men and the women pose? Yes. Very good. Good catch. Good hands. So men have a little bit higher center of gravity. So we're going in the center of our mass, power position. Women a couple inches lower, center of the mass, power position. Same thing. And when you stand up like this, you automatically put your shoulders back. You feel more powerful. And because you just changed your posture, now you can breathe deeper, because when you're like this all day, you're breathing in the top third of your lungs. Here you can access all of your lungs, and it changes your state immediately. And even the hormones and chemicals in your body to make you feel more powerful and get into your flow state faster. So if you need to access that, this is a hack to how to do that real quick. Thank you. Good job. And then to be able to remind yourself to do a lot of the things that I'm talking about, like the power pose and the other things that we're talking about today, is to create habits. So here's a really good book, Atomic Habits. Another one is Mini Habits. And I wrote a book too, Cracking Your Calorie Code. That also talks about habits. Great books, great resources, all in the notes. But just so you know that, because habits, creating habits, is what changes your lifestyle. And then when you change your lifestyle, then your life changes. So I want to talk a little bit about our fight or flight mechanism. So who recognizes who that is? Yeah, who said that? Yeah, I love it. Honey Boo Boo. Of course, that's not a real picture. They would never subject her to that kind of danger. But it's hilarious, and it's a wonderful representation of how our fight or flight mechanism is designed to work. It's supposed to get us away from lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Ah! And you know what happened. and so That's why I paused. I knew it was coming. So when you're getting away from something that's going to kill you, you need about 20 seconds, maybe 30 tops. And that's the amount of time it takes to outsmart what's chasing you, because humans aren't fast enough to get away from stuff like that. But we're smart enough, and that's why we're still here, so we can outsmart animals, or you're being eaten. Either way, 20, 30 seconds is about all you got. And so that's how long the fight or flight is meant to be activated. But with modern society and the onslaught of environmental things coming at us, it's on all day, and we don't turn it off. And that's a really bad thing, because you can see the health effects are huge of chronic fight or flight never coming out. The biggest one is cortisol elevation, and if you're cortisol all day, you can be eating perfect and exercising and still find it near to impossible to lose weight, because that hormone is that powerful. So when you're trapped in that, it's a tough life. So you've got to retrain and relearn. Now, the previous slide about the high intensity training is huge to get you out of fight or flight. X-Gym specifically too, but that's not the only option. Any exercise is going to be good, because when you're through with your set or exercise, you find yourself going like this. And that's what our body forgets how to do. So when you're doing that, you're reminding yourself on a conscious and subconscious way how to get out, how to escape. But the people who are sitting all day at the office, and then they go and they sit in their car, and then they go home and they sit and they watch TV, their bodies forget how to do it, and then they're stuck. And then when they start eating right, they wonder why they can't lose weight. It's because they don't know how to get out. Now here's another one I want to try with you. It's a quick hack you can do really easily, really quickly. It's called square breathing, and it changes the state you're in. Could be fight or flight, could be anger, whatever state you want to, it could even be emotional eating. So for this, you breathe into 4 counts, then you hold with full lungs for 4 counts, then you breathe out 4 counts, and then you hold empty lungs 4 counts. It's a parasympathetic nervous system hack that calms everything down, gets you out of fight or flight, and changes the state you're in. And level 2 is to focus on your clock and make it 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds empty lungs. And then the third level, the ninja Jedi level, is you find your pulse and you do it for 4 heartbeats in, 4 heartbeats hold, 4 heartbeats out, 4 heartbeats empty lungs holding. That way, you're linking up your brain and your heart, which is huge. That could be a whole other talk in itself too, but it's very important. Trust me, it's huge. So this is a quick hack, square breathing, super easy to do, really easy to remember. You just rinse and repeat as long as you need. If you're doing it with the heartbeat, you'll notice that with every time or over time, your heart rate starts to slow down because it's working. You're hacking into your parasympathetic nervous system. People ask me all the time about, well, can't I just take Rhodia roseola for my stress or some sort of supplement? Well, if you're on the standard American diet, fast food, processed food, high carbs, high sugar, this is what supplements are going to do for you. Because if you're on the standard American diet, your nutrition bucket is empty. And so what's going to happen to that drop? It's going to hit the bottom of the bucket, it's going to go and it's going to sit there until it evaporates and goes away. That's what your money's going to do, putting it in supplements at that point. So what I tell people is get your nutrition in first, then add supplements, because supplements are a supplement to good nutrition. And then it looks like this. It's still just a drop in the bucket. The main thing is great nutrition. But when that drop hits that full bucket of good nutrition, now it has a ripple effect, and it actually makes a difference, and it can help. But it's never the main thing. It's only a supplement. How would you like to have more willpower and higher IQ? Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? More focus, more productivity. So the best diet for your brain is the ketogenic diet. There's a lot of diets that are good for your brain, but this is the best because it's high fat, and brain loves fat because your brain is fat. Omega-3s are a great brain fat, and so are MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, wonderful fat. And that's why the keto diet is so good for the brain, and especially the prefrontal cortex, which is the human part of the brain. That's what makes us different than the animals. The PFC is where our willpower is. So the stronger the PFC, the more willpower you have. The PFC allows us to simulate scenarios off into the future. Well, if I did this, what would happen? Animals can't do that. They're just reactionary. You can probably think of reactionary friends that you have or reactionary coworkers you have that are stuck in the other part of the brain because they have a weak PFC. But this and some of these other techniques are ways to strengthen up that PFC. Here's another one. This is the Inner Balance app. It's a little thing you clip on your earlobe, measures your heart rate variability, and it can tell if your brain is talking to your heart, and it's a two-way communication. I do this every night, 5 minutes. It's worth an hour of meditation. I do this every morning. It's the Muse headband. It senses my electric impulses. 5 minutes is like an hour. So I'm meditating 2 hours a day in 10 minutes. Huge hack. Neither of those are really frugal. They're both pretty fancy, but it's worth it. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like, it's simulating that for you. Is there any kind of stimulation, or is it? I mean,
Good question. It's biofeedback. It doesn't give me anything. The app tells me if I'm centered or not. What?
Is it bio or neuro? Neurofeedback, biofeedback?
Well, I would consider the first one here biofeedback because that's heart rate. And this would be neuro because it's sensing brain waves. But the app is telling me whether I'm centered or not, and it's telling me when I get off center and to get back. Whereas without the apps and the gizmos, I'm kind of guessing.
I mean, does it have like some kind of monitor that you're directly like channeling to? You know, like so you have a focal point that you're actually.
The screen on the phone. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
they're both app related.
They're apps. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, how many people want to be in the top 5% of their friends and family or their work, their coworkers? The top 5% doesn't get laid off when times get tough, right? So, here's a brain type test that I developed over the years. There's 16 different brain types. And this gives you, your particular brain type, specific biohacks and neurohacks to what works best for you. Exercise, nutrition, with brain training exercises that are going to make the most sense for your brain wiring. So that's a shortcut. These are the top 5 things to get healthy that I've come up with over the last 35 years. Exercise is number 1, best keystone habit. Nutrition, getting your water. Quality sleep. Brain training, working on your brain. And relationships. Those are the most important 5 things for health. These are the most important 5 things for preventing dementia or even reversing Alzheimer's, which we know is possible now. My mom was diagnosed in the year 2000. We didn't know enough back then to help her, so she passed in 2005, but I never stopped studying it because the research was changing so fast, I knew there was going to be an answer. And now there is. We know it can be reversed. And this is how. Do you see similarities? The only difference between the two is number 4, and it's kind of the same. It's brain training over here. It's learning in games over here. It's also brain training is great, but learning new things completely outside your field is huge for your brain. Something you're bad at, something that's hard, that's the best. That's why I got my pilot's license in 2008, because it's hard to get that. And I knew I'd like it, though, because my dad was a private pilot, and we flew a lot when I was younger. And so just pick something. Make it your yearly project and just chip away. It doesn't have to be a big thing that you do every day, just little tiny steps to learn something new. Maybe it's a language. Whatever it is, something that's hard is really good for your brain. 7 hours of exercise in 42 minutes with the XGym system. I designed it to be a time hack. I don't like to work out. I don't like exercise myself. And I wanted to design something that would take less time. So over the years, I did. We have an Eastside Club over there. We've got the online training, live training through the technology, your phone. And then we've got an app. And all of those things come with the health course, too. So if that's something you want to consider, the xgym.com is the website to check it all out. So we've really come a long way. We've come from hunter-gatherer. There are a few societies that are still hunter-gatherer societies on the planet right now. And guess what? They're practically disease-free. They don't get Alzheimer's, they don't get cancer, they don't get diabetes, they don't have heart disease. And then we got to the point where, agricultural, we're raising animals, we're raising plants. So more protein, we got bigger. And we continue to get bigger and smarter. Brains got bigger. So now we're reading, we're learning, we're philosophical, and then we get so smart that we invent computers and chairs and desks. And then here's where we are now. We're feeling real smart in front of our TV, eating fast food. So I don't know where we're going next, but it's pretty scary, and it's something that we need to pay attention to. So the takeaways that your great-grandma would also agree with. Get moving, outside when possible. Drink more water. Get in your kitchen with real food, making real food with your own hands. Form habits and rituals using hacks, because it's a shortcut. It's easier to change your lifestyle with hacks, and start small. Tiny steps moving forward is how to change your lifestyle gradually. So on that form that you're putting your stuff in, you get the discount to the app if you want it, presentation notes from today with links, and then you're entered into the VIP list where you get updated information, the latest and greatest nutrition news and research, exercise, brain stuff, all that kind of stuff. And then you also get the free Sad Rad food list, which describes the fat-burning foods, the highest, healthiest fat-burning foods at the top, and then as you go down, fat-storing foods at the bottom. A lot of people use this for a shopping list, or they'll put it on their fridge, but it's a great resource. And that's it. So, any questions? Because I promise I will respond. I don't promise I'll have the answer, because I don't know everything, but I'll do my best, and I will for sure respond. So anybody have any questions? Yeah.
If I went home and took a look at my kitchen, what would I start with?
What would you start with in your kitchen? Greens. That would be a good starting point. More greens, fresh greens, and coming up with ways to cook and prepare those greens. And if you go to the XGym website, at the top you'll see the word recipes. You click it, and there's tons of ideas there. Yeah?
What other types of diets are good for your health and your brain?
So, good question. What other kinds of diets are good for your health and your brain? There's lots of them. My favorite is the keto, but there's tons of other ones. And the one I recommend the most, because keto is a big step from the standard American diet. A smaller step is the Mediterranean diet. It's a great diet, and it's really good for the brain, because it also promotes really good fats and reducing some of the sugars and some of the fast carbs that are bad for the brain. Yes?
My friend Jennifer and I do hot yoga, and I do it 4 times a week. And so I'm finding that I'm holding on to water, and I'm just wondering if that's something you've heard about happening in between, like when you're not non-meditating.
Yes. So hot yoga is a great way to detox, and then drinking water, of course, to replenish that is important. But sometimes, you mentioned holding on to water between sessions, way more common with women than men. Your physiology is designed to do that. It's a survival mechanism, reproduction mechanism, that kind of stuff. So it's normal. A woman can fluctuate 10 pounds in a day, just water. Men are like 3 pounds in a day. So A, it's normal. B, the only way and the best way to mitigate that and prevent retention is just drink way more water all the time, every day. Just constantly flush. You're still going to go up and down, but not as much.
If you went to your gym, you would go, it's 42 minutes, so twice a week,
Yeah.
21 minutes.
Yeah.
Or could you do the app and not be, if it's not convenient to get to your gym, do the app and do it 21 minutes twice a week?
Okay, so the question is, at the gym, obviously, it's 42 minutes a week, 2 21-minute workouts. Is it the same on the app? Yes, there are programs that are 21 minutes on the app, but it's kind of interesting because people have been using the app in different ways. So a lot of people will they'll pull out their phone when they have a spare 3 minutes somewhere, could be anywhere, because it's not enough time to get sweaty, and they'll do one exercise, because that's about the time it takes to do one exercise. So the app, you can get a lot more creative on your own. Yeah. Are we out of time? No?
No, we can take some more.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah.
So once nutrition is optimized, what's the best supplement to start with?
So once you've optimized your nutrition, what's the best supplement to start with? I would say for our latitude, vitamin D3, because now this time of year, we're getting enough sun when we go out in it. All you need this time of year until September-ish is 15 minutes in short sleeves, and that's enough vitamin D. So it's pretty easy to get. But even when it is sunny this time of year, a lot of people still aren't going outside enough. They're not getting that 15 minutes a day. So we need a supplement. And the other months, even if it's a sunny day in the winter, you're not getting jack because the sun is too low, it's going through too much atmosphere, and it won't activate that on your skin, so your skin can't make it for you. So that, I would think, would be the most important for us in this area is vitamin D3. A lot of other areas of the world too. And they even wanted to classify, and they're still talking about reclassifying vitamin D3 as a hormone because that's how important it is for your health. Yeah?
For years, chiropractors that I've gone to have urged me to take glucosamine for
Yeah.
cartilage and joints. And yet I keep seeing study after study saying they've tested out, there's no scientific effect noticed.
Right.
What's your theory? What's your view?
So glucosamine for joints can work for some people. And I agree with the research that by itself, it's unclear whether it helps or not. Some people, I really believe it does help, so you got to try it and see. And some people, there's a placebo effect, which is okay too. I'm a strong supporter of the placebo effect. If somebody comes to me and they say, oh, I've been doing this and it's amazing, it works so well, and I know that it actually doesn't work, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad you found something that works for you, because their brain is making it work for them. So that might be something too. Sometimes they'll combine glucosamine with MSM or chondroitin or all three, and sometimes there's a synergistic effect to that, which is really helpful. But I just say experiment with it. It can't hurt you. The worst case scenario is it doesn't work and you wasted your money. But at least you tried, and maybe it'll work. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Love it.